Hello, everyone. Welcome to RGV Community Health Hour. This is DJ Galicia Kid, back again for the spring 26th semester. I hope y'all had a good holiday break and a great start to this new year, of course. You're tuned into Vaquero Radio, the Valley Student Station, so thanks for tuning in. And just a quick reminder, the views expressed on RGV Community Health Hour are for informational purposes only and do not constitute medical advice. Be sure to consult your primary care provider for all your healthcare needs. So back again on the show, I'm very, thankful to have him on, is Richard Clayton, a clinical therapist here at UTRGV. And like last semester, he's back again for the first episode of the semester to talk about the services that they're going to be offering at the counseling center. Or is it the counseling center, the counseling clinic?
It's the counseling center.
Okay.
Right, yes.
I just wanted to make sure I got that right. So he's going to be talking about all the stuff that you have planned for the semester. So I hope this is as useful for you all as it is for me, because I always learn so much about the things they offer and the services they provide. So thanks again, Richard, as always, for being on the show.
Hey, Ricardo, I do appreciate you bringing me in. As always, this is our third or fourth time together.
Yes, sir.
And it gives us time to showcase what the available mental health program we have here for all UTRGV currently enrolled students. And again, UTRGV Counseling Center is on both campuses. Actually, we're in Harlingen now too for the School of Podiatry. But we are here on the Brownsville campus. We are on the Edinburgh campus. We are at the School of Podiatry, and we're also at the School of Medicine. So we actually have four separate locations, all staffed by licensed and trained clinical therapists, either licensed professional counselors, licensed clinical social workers, or clinical psychologists, all of us. And then we have our support staff, which we have clinical interns, and then our administrative staff as well. So anything I talk about can be duplicated on any of the campuses. Yeah.
And with the podiatry clinic, is that something
It's
new?
the podiatry school
yeah.
of medicine.
Yeah, okay.
So they're training new doctors to be podiatric physicians. And my understanding, and shout out to them, is they just finished some certification that gives them the gold star, and now they're full ready to go. Of course, I know they've been in practice for 2 or 3 years now. So those soon-to-be podiatric physicians that are going to graduate are probably cheering in the crowd, saying, "Yeah, we can go take our board exams or whatever is requirement of that." So yeah, we have that. I don't think a lot of people know we have that school.
Yeah, no, it is a relatively new addition to UTRGV's offerings, and being a part of our human genetics program that started almost 4 years ago now. We're kind of, especially, we just left the School of Medicine and now we're at the College of Sciences.
Right.
But when we were a part of the School of Medicine, of course, we get all the updates and information about stuff happening in the School of Medicine. Right. And the podiatry school was, like you said, it's just been, I think it's been about 2 years or so.
2 or 3 years,
yeah.
Just 2 years.
And the interesting thing about that is one of the students in our third cohort, the third cohort, he's actually, he works there. He already has his PhD in like podiatry, some kind of, podiatry background or his education. And so, he just, mentioned wanting to do human genetics, and I'd love to have him on the show, but I know he's busy, working and doing those things on top of being a student in our PhD program. But I'm sure he's got an amazing story. But, the whole reason they started, a big part of the reason why they started that school down here is because of all the foot issues dealing with diabetes.
Absolutely.
And amputations.
Yeah. And that that community outreach is something that UTRGV is really leaning into. If you can't look at the news or drive down the expressway without seeing a UTRGV sign, some sort of community outreach, a lot of it in the medical field, but a lot of behind the scenes, as your program is, a lot of research going on here at UTRGV. And so we have the psychiatry department, the psychology department, we have which are turning out students or turning out clinicians, and then we have our department, which we technically fall under School of Medicine, but we're all clinicians working with the student population, meaning we're providing mental health services to our student population. So we're kind of an outlier within the medical school, or but we do fall under them just because we're considered part of the medical community now. So.
Yeah, and I know I don't know if it's formally been announced. It probably has, or there's probably rumblings. But I actually met last year at one of the football games. I was lucky enough to be a guest to someone who was invited to be at the School of Medicine suite for one of the Vaquero football games. So,
Nice.
I got to, network a little bit in the suite, and I actually met, I don't remember his name, and I asked him if he wanted to be a guest on the show, so hopefully he can make it this semester. I want to say I sent him an email. I'll have to check the emails and just look up, I'm going to have to just go email digging, because like I said,
Right.
I can't even remember his name.
Yeah.
It's, been, feels like years at this point, but it's only been a few months. But yeah, he said he was recruited down here to be the head of the new optometry school that they're developing or
right.
something like that. So
And the good thing is our university as a whole is really gaining that reputation where we're able to draw in faculty and staff from other places that see what's going on here and seeing it's kind of a tier 1 university now. So we're able to draw in, which just helps our credentialing and helps our credibility within, again, both the academic as far as research community and also turning out clinicians, because we do both.
Mm-hmm.
We turn out clinicians and we turn out researchers.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great thing going on. I love it. Every time I open an email, there's something new. Hey, we're number 1 in this, or we're top in this, or we opened this new program, or anything. And of course, I'm always looking for that mental health. What are we doing on the mental health side?
Yeah.
What is my clinic doing? What is the psychology clinic doing? What is the psychiatric clinic doing? What are the medical students doing? What is our residents in psychiatry doing? Because we're all in a very like field. We're all, either parallel to each other or joined somehow. We're all intertwined, and so I'm excited. I love working here because there's so many benefits to working here.
Oh yeah, no, it's really amazing. I mean, I couldn't imagine being a local and seeing how vastly UTRGV has changed this area over the last 10 to 15 years. And just all the amount of different schools of medicine to train up professionals in those certain fields to go and do. And what I really think is the best part about that is that a large percentage of the people going through this training are locals.
Right.
That are more than likely going to stay in the area after they graduate, granted the job market and their situation, but it's really training up a bunch of medical professionals to take care of, as we've talked about on this show many times before, there's, a disproportionate amount of disease burden to this region. And so to have UTRGV pumping out a bunch of medical professionals and medical schools is really a blessing.
Right, and and one of the things, and again from the mental health side, and we have several programs here at UTRGV that turn out mental health professionals. Is the focus is on working within underserved populations, and of course, as we know, the whole UTRGV is really an underserved population in both the medical and the mental health fields, and so that whole focus of creating practitioners that are part of the community is super super priority here at our schools. I'm familiar with one of the programs because I work also with the School of Rehabilitation and Counseling Department, and everything from our bachelor's programs, our master's and our PhD programs really focuses on that multicultural aspect and actually turning out people from the community to go back into the community and practice. It's kind of like they want to see a face that looks like them. They want somebody that understands their culture, or our culture, I should say. And so that's the beauty of the programs here. It's not to make practitioners to go out throughout the world, although I'm sure a lot of our students do, which is good, because now we have representation. We have that modeling out in you know, in other states and other countries that, hey, I'm from the RGV and here's what we represent. Because there might be misconceptions of what we are down here in South Texas, because unless you've been here for extended periods of time or live here or from here, there's a lot of misconceptions of who and what we are down here. So yeah, I mean, we're sending out representation out and about, but we're also creating that, hey, we're here to stay too, kind of things, yeah.
For sure. Yeah, and with that, we're going to take a quick music break, and we'll be right back, everyone, so stay tuned. Thanks.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Now pause this. And man, it took me 4 hours to get home.
That's happens.
Yeah.
That happens.
Yeah, it was rough.
You got to know the alternate routes.
Mhm. All right, everyone. Thanks for staying tuned in. DJ Caliche Kid, and you're listening to RGV Community Health Hour here on Vaquero Radio, the Valley Student Station. So again, I'm here with Richard Clayton, a clinical therapist here at UTRGV. And yeah, so Richard, do you want to get into some of the workshops now, or?
Yeah. So first of all, let me tell how students can get a hold of us and the services and,
Okay,
and
yeah,
the
let's-
workshops.
Yeah, good call. Let's start with that.
Yeah. Again, we're on all the campuses. You can contact us a couple different ways. We do have an email. It's easy. It's counseling@utrgv.edu. But I highly recommend that you either stop into one of our offices on the campuses or a call. And it really doesn't matter which the phone numbers you call. You're going to get you're going to get the same people. It doesn't matter if you call to the Edinburgh campus and you need Brownsville services or whatever, because they can schedule for all of us. But what we do is we offer free and confidential mental health counseling services to all currently enrolled UTRGV students. It doesn't matter if you're an entering freshman or you're finishing up your PhD. It doesn't matter to us, so long as you're currently enrolled. That includes, you know, traditional face-to-face courses, or if you're on one of our online programs. The only requirement we have is that you're in the state of Texas, because that is because of licensure.
Mhm.
So yeah, and when I say free mental health, and we take it really into, we take that, that's very high, is the confidentiality statement. So we get asked, you know, do my parents find out about this? Is it goes on my transcript? The answer to all of that is no. If you're age 18 or older, it does not follow you in any aspect, any negative aspect in any way. Positive mental health hopefully will follow you, but in any aspect. So it's not going to be branded on your transcript. Your professors will not find out. Your parents will not find out. And we get the question, well, hey, my parents pay for my education. And I'm like, man, I don't care. Good for you. You got someone paying for your education, but
Yeah.
I'm not even allowed to look you up in the computer if someone calls. Dr. Bailey himself, sorry, Dr. Bailey, you don't even get to find out. So that's how we take it. Of course, we will help with accommodations. You know, we do screenings, we do diagnostic interviews. We do, one of the misconceptions is we can't diagnose and treat. Yes, we do. We do diagnose and treat. We can also help refer you out to either psychiatry, or if you need specialized care to, like the psychology assessments and all that. We help with student accessibility services, helping students get accommodations for that. So we're a real pipeline where, you know, all our partners here at UTRGV, we are very well intertwined. While we may be separate departments, we work together behind the scenes. I'll call my colleagues over at another department at night if I need to.
Mhm.
And so what happens is you'll come in, you'll make an appointment with one of us. We'll do a little screening. The screening may take 20 to 30 minutes max. You'll fill out some paperwork. We'll explain the confidentiality again, go into more detail. You'll give us a little brief synopsis. I'll be asking you some questions. Again, it's not real in-depth. It won't take a real long time. And then based on that real short interview, again, 20 minutes or maybe 30 minutes max, between the two of us, because this is a joint plan, we'll come up with what's our best plan. Would you like some assets like one of our groups that I'm going to talk about here in a minute? Would you like one-on-one counseling? If you need it online, we can definitely, we have a service called, you know, we have a couple different services, but where we can provide information or provide services where you can do it on the weekends and evenings. Now that is all online, and we pay for that. So if, you know, a lot of folks, they work or their school schedule doesn't align with traditional work hours, we got you. We got you back on this one. And again, it's all free and confidential, whether we do it face-to-face or we arrange the services on the contract on the outside. And so it's called Timely Care, by the way. You may have seen our posters running around, or you can just Google UTRGV Timely Care. By the way, you do not need a referral to log on to Timely Care. You do not need to see us first. You can log on yourself, by yourself, and do that. And anyway, so backtrack, we have our little meeting. We get to know each other a little bit. You get to know me, I get to know you, and then we come up with a kind of a mini treatment plan. What's the best for you? And we go different ways. We usually try to do what we call brief personal counseling, which might be 2 to 4 sessions. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
kind of psycho ed. Let's work through this, see what we need. Now, if we need to go long term, yes, of course, we have the capability to go long term as well. Okay, so long as you maintain your status as a currently enrolled student, okay, including during breaks. If you're, through say this winter break we just had, yes, if you're enrolled in the spring, we can still see you through the break and all that. We're
Okay.
still here. We don't get to leave like the students. Yeah, we don't get summer breaks unless we take vacation. But some of the groups, and I'd like to cover some of the group workshops we have. Some are online. Most of them are in person during traditional hours. We have 8 or 9 groups going at any one time between the 2 campuses. And some of the groups, I'm just going to kind of briefly talk about them. If any of them, if you want any more information, you can either go on our Instagram page or email us again at counseling@utrgv.edu. Google UTRGV Counseling Center. And we usually have all this posted as well. And we're on Viva as well, and pay attention to those messages that come out every day. Yeah, we advertise on those too. The ones that no one ever listens or clicks on to watch, because you get them every day. Click on them, and there's really good information. But just to cover some of the really cool groups that are starting up right now, either they're already started or they're going to be starting the first week in February. We have one called College on the Spectrum. It's for our students who might have be on the autism spectrum disorder, or identify as that. We have SMART, which is self-management and recovery training, which helps our students that may be interested in recovery from any kind of addiction. When we talk about addictions, a lot of time people think, oh, it's just alcohol and chemical addictions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's other addictions too, and we cover those, the non-chemical or process addictions, gambling, how about this one, social media?
Yeah, social media.
The whole internet kind of thing. We cover you, we got you. So if you think you would like to join that, we have that. That's on the Edinburgh campus, by the way.
Okay.
A really cool one that I really think is kind of neat is called Adjusting to Vaquero Life, right? And so it kind of like we're talking a lot of the students, they're coping with stress and anxiety of college. Either maybe they're entering freshman, or maybe they're entering one of the as you and I both know, when you enter a graduate program, it's like stress all over again, right?
Yeah.
Well, we got you on this. So dealing with this stress and anxiety, maybe even homesick. Maybe you've moved into the dorms, or you're going to one of the other campuses that you don't live close to or in that town. So you're homesick. You're reestablishing that new sense of community.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this Adjusting to Vaquero Life group is for you. We kind of hook you up with fellow students that are feeling it. Sometimes it feels good to see others that feel like us. We don't. It helps without I don't feel so isolated.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's always, that, I think, I'm sure you can relate to this, that's kind of what gets people through the hard stuff in the military.
Oh, yeah.
If you have to go out there, they don't really do quote unquote suicide missions anymore, where
Yeah.
they send one dude out expecting him to save the world.
Yeah.
But, you go out as a small group, a team of, like operators, on the highest tiers, right?
Yeah.
Like small groups. But, I mean, just having to go out there and endure really hard conditions, what makes it possible is just knowing that there's people there depending on you, but also you depending on them.
Right.
You work as a team to accomplish a mission. But yeah, so it's no different for pursuing any academic, or any academic pursuit. It's tough, mentally and physically demanding.
It is.
And then it's always good to have that way to vent and know that those other people, honestly, as an undergrad engineering student, that's what really made it bearable, is just having other engineering students who are struggling just as much as you.
Right.
So
We're all
you make your
struggling.
study
Yeah.
groups.
We're all struggling together.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one of the things I like about how the university systems are set up now. back in the day, we didn't do as much group work. And now at all levels, there's a lot of group work, and you get to struggle together. and you know, how does it, you know, you see other people struggling, and it's like, oh, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
You know, we can do this together. We can manage together, and we bond, and we you know, we build community, and that's kind of what a lot of our group work here. Group work both within the academia. You know how you go out and as an engineer, you mentioned you had other engineering students, or you know, based on our military, you know, we had our groups that we worked with, and you became really tight. Well, we like to do that cohort sort of thing here at the university, and then again, our groups here at the counseling center. You know, we like to bond. Some of the other really cool stuff that we do is we have some projects that I do also as well. We have expressive art workshops, and we have expressive art groups. Difference being in a workshop, I might just do it one day, which I'm going to do twice this semester. But that's for the veteran and the veteran family community. That's going to be coming up in March and April.
Okay.
I'm sorry, April and May, end of March, 1st of April, after spring break.
Nice.
We're doing it on each campus. That's going to be something, we're just in the planning stages right now. But we'll be doing expressive arts, but we're actually doing expressive art workshops starting February 4th on the Edinburgh campus, and that's from 11 to 12:30, so kind of that lunch break time.
Nice.
We try to plan these things when we know a lot of students have breaks, or at lunchtime, or when not as many students are in class. That way they have the opportunity to participate. Some workshops, we would like you to be there all sessions, and other workshops are kind of drop-ins, meaning it's not really group where you stay the whole time. You can, but if you can only make every other, hey, we're good with that. If you're interested in those, we'll explain that one-on-one to the client, to the student that wants to know more about information about that. Hey, I'm interested in your expressive art stuff. Again, you can reach out to us, and we'll explain it, or I'll hook you up with a therapist that's actually doing that. Because I have a couple colleagues on the other campus that are really into expressive arts themselves. And I got interested in expressive arts to the veteran community. Was led by one of my mentors, and she, well, not a veteran herself, her father is a Vietnam veteran, so she has a special place. And I was looking for something special to do with the veteran community, and she got me involved in that. And then I went to a graduate program for expressive arts, and now I spread the wealth to all students, not just veterans, to all my students, to all my people. And so we do a lot of that expressive arts. We do a lot of balancing workshops, understanding self and others, kind of meaning, you know, hey, who am I and who are you? And let's talk about that. That's the other kind of workshops that we're doing. We do have some kind of research-based stuff with some partners with the Texas Youth Depression and Suicide Research Network. We're doing something with them this semester where we'll introduce a student. We're not doing the research ourselves, but we're actually introducing students between age 8 and 20. So for us, it would be 18 to 20 year olds. We would do a screening. There's actually, you could be compensated for it and whatnot. And if you have any interest in that, we can go into more detail later, but it is through the Texas Youth Depression and Suicide Network, and they're conducting conducting a study on what do we need for the future of mental health here in the state of Texas, right? Okay. And I sure would love the Valley to be represented in that, because as big as the state is, you know, I don't want to be overlooked. I don't want our community to be overlooked in any of this research, especially when it comes to mental health, because again, a different demographic. Than say people up in the Panhandle. Complete opposites. We're all Texans, but a different demographic, a different way we were raised and thought to understand mental health, you know? And we want to break down those boundaries, but we want to be represented. Just like you want your representation in Washington or Austin, we want our representation in the mental health field too. And so anytime we see these projects, we grab and want to bring them down and introduce them and allow our people to jump in as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's a great point with, you know, always trying to get more representation of the Valley, because, like you said, there's just a lot of preconceived notions based on the media, based on just historical lenses, I guess you could say. So yeah, I mean, and like you said, mentioned earlier, you know, until you've lived here and experienced what it's like to be here, you know, on a long-term basis, then you realize like that's just a lot of I don't know if propaganda is the right word, but
Stereotyping.
Yeah.
I think we're stereotyped a lot.
Mhm.
And you're right. There's a cultural difference than the rest, and it is what it is.
Mhm.
But we need to be represented. We need to make a lot of improvements.
For sure.
I grew up here in the Valley. I've been here forever. I know y'all can't see how old I am, but I'm older than most. But I grew up down here, and I've seen the evolution that we've gone from the '60s all the way to current times, and we are making progress.
Mhm.
I do want it feels like sometimes we're not making progress, but we really, really are if you look at it to a historical lens.
Mhm.
But man, we've got a lot more work to do.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's why we do this outreach. That's why UTRGV, and the whole UT system. I can speak to this because we interact with our partners at the other UT systems. Mental health is super important. All the universities have a counseling center.
Mhm.
All of them have licensed professionals. And just to give you an insight on the benefits of what you can do here without any cost to you. If you've ever tried to seek mental health counseling and pay out of pocket or try to get your insurance to pay for it, it's very expensive. We're talking $100 to $150 per hour
Mhm.
for mental health, one-on-one mental health counseling. And that's provided to the students free of charge. The system's paying for it. We're not sending the student a bill. Their parents aren't getting a bill. It's not gonna affect their financial aid. It's not gonna affect anything in the negative, only in the positive.
Mhm.
And these are skill sets that we're working on that you take away forever. People wanna know what's therapy. What do I do when I'm in therapy? Do I lay on a couch and talk about how bad it is? Well, no. What therapy is getting to know yourself and learning skills.
Mhm.
It's skill building. It's skill building one-on-one. It really is. How do I do meditations? What can I do to help reduce my anxiety?
Mhm.
What do I do when I encounter certain circumstances, such as, a depression,
Mhm.
right? How do I work with trauma in my background? How do I work with that? How do I adjust?
Yeah, that's I want to comment on that, but I want
Sure.
to take a quick music break before
Absolutely.
we continue. So stay tuned, everyone. Thanks. All right, everyone. Thanks for staying tuned in. This is DJ Caliche Kid, and you're listening to RGV Community Health Hour here on Vaquero Radio, the Valley Student Station. So yeah, we're back with Richard Clayton, and we're talking about burnout a little bit
Mhm.
prior to the music break, and just the rigors of being a college student. And what I wanted to comment on was just really to say that, like before the show and during the break, I was talking to Richard about the end of fall semester. I was feeling really burnt out. I was staying very late multiple nights throughout the week doing my work. I commute 3 hours a day to and from McAllen to Brownsville. And so I was doing all these samples for my project. And to save, ultimately what would have saved me 2 to 3 hours, it wasn't really that I skipped a step, but because I'm basically pulling protein from tissue.
Mhm.
And to separate the gunk of the tissue away from the protein I want to grab, I have to centrifuge it. And generally, I only was doing like 10 to 15 samples at a time. So
Right.
I would centrifuge multiple times, multiple rounds, making sure I'm grabbing like really clean protein. But with this time, with 78 samples, I was like, man, to go through all these tubes, pull out a little bit, respin them, pull out a little bit, respin them, it was going to be a bunch of extra hours of work. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to spin them down once. I'm going to pull a little bit, because I've known based on what I've done in the past that it's going to be enough, and I'm going to move forward. So I did that, and then when I came to the point of checking how much protein was in my sample, there wasn't much at all.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some samples were reading zeros, and I was just like, oh no. I thought I messed everything up. So that was like added stress on me. It was like, man, I used a bunch of kits and stuff in the lab to do this work.
Right.
Like thousands of dollars worth of stuff, and now maybe it's all, for nothing.
All for nothing?
Yeah. And then I was thinking like, I'm gonna have to start from scratch, and it's a lot of work. It was like just.
So you were feeling the stress.
Yeah.
You were feeling the strain.
Yeah, it was. So thankfully, I have great mentors that I work with in the human genetics department, and they guided me on best. Basically what ended up happening was my samples were too dilute. So when I went to go grab sample,
Okay.
there was potentially nothing to grab because it was too diluted. So I dried them down and concentrated them, and voila.
There you go.
Yeah,
Right.
everything showed up. So, but just going through that roller coaster of all the work, not being sure, trying to get it done before Thanksgiving break because I wanted the machines to run through Thanksgiving break.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just a lot. And so by the end of the fall, come early December, I was done.
Burned, huh?
Yeah, and I could just feel it like weighing on my heart and my
Right.
soul. I'm sure people kind of can relate to that weird.
Yes, they can.
It's like being nauseous, but it's in your chest.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a
It's
good analogy, yeah.
Yeah, so it felt terrible. I'm like, oh, this is terrible. And so, all that to say that things worked out and for me, thankfully. And I ended up taking a 4-day break to go hunt on my ranch, but I knew that I needed it, and I forced myself to take it. So one thing I've seen in this student Facebook group, even today, I think there was a student already talking about being overwhelmed,
Right.
even though it's the beginning.
Yep.
And I know I kind of gave a little giggle with that because
Right.
it seems silly, but it's
not.
totally, yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's totally real. And Ricardo, thank you for all that disclosure. Appreciate you setting that up for us. We have that, and it doesn't matter what program you're in. We all get into a time of burnout, and I talk to students, and I'm like, the whole, for instance, the traditional cramming overnight for an exam, right? And I'm like, after 12, are you actually, when you've got to reread a paragraph 3 times, are you gaining anything?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be better to go to sleep and start fresh in the morning, or hit the exam in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
And then you do that, and you do that, and you keep doing that, and you keep doing that, you keep doing that, and one of two things, you're going to burn out, meaning the quality of your product, and your product is your homework here, your exam, your research, whatever the product is, right? Your product is no longer valid. It's no good. You've not turned in what you need to do. You haven't met the standards of whatever the standards are, right? And so you either redo it, or you might fail, right? You might not complete that course or that semester. So that's the negative to it. And your product's just not there. You're burned out and you don't want to do it anymore. So what can we do? Well, we work on our self-care. Your self-care you mentioned was going to the ranch and embracing nature. And that's, while I don't hunt, I embrace nature too. I go fishing. My wife and I go fishing. We're very much into nature. We bird watch. We do a little bit every day, and then on the weekends we call it our adventure. And we're both in kind of high stress career fields, so we need that time. If not, we would burn out too. I would burn out too. I need my break. Students here, they need their break. They need to decompress. They need to think outside of the box. And when I say think outside of the box of academics, the box of school. Okay. And they're like, oh my God, but I got to keep up. And yes, I understand that. Remember what I said earlier, the quality of your product. If we can take 15 minutes a day, I'm just asking for 15 minutes a day. If you can take 15 minutes a day during the regular daytime and do something for yourself, self-care, watch the birds, take a hot shower, read a book not related to your career field, do something. I don't know about doom scrolling because that can get you in trouble.
Yeah.
But other things, do something. And the quality of your product, again, your homework, your life, your stress levels is going to improve. Trust me. This isn't something I'm making up. This is evidence-based stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And if you need help figuring it out, come see us. Come see one of us, any of us, on any of the campuses. We'll help you understand a self-care plan, help you develop your self-care plan, not mine. I'm not doing it for you. I'll be your tour guide and help you figure this out, but I'm not doing it for you because it needs to be your plan. Because otherwise, what good are we? We want you to be vested in your education. This is your chance. Okay, it costs money. Somebody's paying for it. You may be on financial aid, but it still costs money. And we're here to help. The university is about student success, and we're just part of that. So yeah, self-care. You'll hear, if you're one of my clients, you're gonna hear me say self-care, self-care, self-care. Like, is that all that guy talks about? Well, it's a cornerstone.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, and even as a professional, I have to lean forward and engage in it myself intentionally. It just doesn't come natural. I have to do it intentionally. And I can tell, I want to be the best product come Monday morning for my clients, the students. My students are the clients. I want to be the best product I can for them, the best therapist. So I have to do it. I don't want to be a burnout. And that goes for when you're studying. I don't care what your degree is. pick one. Just throw a dart, pick one. We all have, it can happen. And students, the university's good at doing things that come down to the student unions. Look at, walk over the Bronx Trail and look at all the flyers. Here on the Brownsville campus, come over to the student union, look at the sandwich boards, the flyers that go out, read the stuff. There's all sorts of really cool stuff. And I don't mean just from the counseling center. I'm talking about student involvement. I'm talking about clubs.
Yeah.
Get involved in a club. Yes, everybody wants to be in a club that's related to their field because it looks good on the resume. Get involved in the chess club. Get involved in something that's not related to your career field. Just to broaden your horizons, just to get outside of that process.
Yeah, and it's like me in scuba diving.
There you go.
It's just like, I always, when I'm out there with the marine biologist, I'm like, damn, maybe I messed up. Maybe I should have been a marine biologist, because the ocean is your laboratory.
Right.
You get to be outdoors all the time, and it's like, man, it's an amazing life, to say the least. Not to say that it's easy or anything, of course. Scuba diving in general is hard.
Right.
And then to do science underwater is just like a whole nother.
That's a whole new dimension. Yeah, right. So do something different.
Yeah, so it's always one of those things. And for me, of course, the self-care, taking time out, like you said, to read a book or go outside and walk or be outdoors, go to the beach, if you can, or whatever the case is. For me, I always say, just think positive thoughts out loud, like, like verbalize.
Positive affirmation.
Yes. It's honestly, it changed my life. And I can't, I've shared the story many times here before, so I won't go through it again. But even now, I realized last semester, I didn't do it too much last semester during my commute, where I would just, towards the end I did. I was like, okay, I am capable, especially right before my committee meeting. I was like, okay, I'm capable. I've done it once, I can do it again. I belong, because when you're working with, when your mentors are world-renowned scientists, it's kind of, a little bit nerve-wracking to deal with people who are so advanced in their professional careers and have so much knowledge and insight. But it's they understand that we're young scientists, and of course are not going to know what they know, and so they're very patient and amazing, mentors to just learn from and get experience from. Right. But the important thing is to always just have those positive affirmations and just speak them aloud, because even if you don't believe it, right? Because that's kind of how I got started with this whole journey. I had no intention of believing what I was saying in terms of like, oh, just fake it till I make it. Just be happy. Just pretend to be happy. Just pretend to be happy.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, no, it really doesn't. But it's kind of weird, because it's like thinking about being happy. It's just like it's just like training your brain to open up new pathways versus like that beat yourself up. And it's funny because was it over? I don't think I mentioned it last. So in the summer I went to, I don't think I mentioned it in our when I had you in the fall for the beginning of last semester, but over the summer I was in Michigan training for a week doing some genetic engineering training, and I had to do surgery to mice, and I had never even touched a mouse. Right. So it was pretty stressful for me, and it was kind of all on the first day. Like, they basically ran me through the whole pipeline of that work, including surgery to mice that I had never even touched on the first day. But by the Thursday, Friday, the fourth and fifth day, I had already become fairly proficient, and so I was doing surgery on one of the mice, and I kind of messed up, and I beat myself up a little bit, and I verbalized it. And the trainer goes, "Oh, don't worry, you have another mouse that you can work with." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure I'll find some way to screw that up too." And she goes, "Oh, don't talk negative. Don't talk like that." And I was like, "Yeah, you know what? You're right. Like, I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. It was how I was feeling, but you're right." And I told her, like, "Hey, this is what I do. I usually try to stay positive." And I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna get that mouse, and I'm gonna do a great job." But I feel like we're really good about beating ourselves up. Like, and it's just like,
kind of
I don't know.
Nature.
Yeah. So that's why I say, think positive, because it's almost like they talk about like visualization, right? Like doing visualization exercises to see yourself in those positions you want to be in, whether it's a successful career in your field or, just going through an interview, you know, you want the best outcome, so you visualize yourself, you try to play scenarios in your
Right.
head.
Well, it's just like practicing.
Yeah.
You know, we practice things,
Mhm.
you know, and that's a visualization of practice. And, you know, you talked about positive self-talk and you talked about negative self-talk in your examples here. Again, thank you for that disclosure. So, you know, here how it works in our brains. If we think about it enough, we start believing it. If we start believing it, it shows in our actions. We start doing it. Okay. So if you reinforce negatively, you start believing it.
Yeah.
I'm not good enough for this program. I'm not good enough. I can't do it. You start believing it, and then what happens? Performance.
Well, that, and you're also kind of slowly opening the door to see yourself out of that
Right.
program, or, you
Right.
know, you're basically building up, I wouldn't say excuses, but reasons. Some may be valid, some maybe not. But yeah, that door starts to creep open, and it's you're looking for the way out, essentially.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, it happens. You know, one good thing about the programs here, the advanced programs, like your program or any of the graduate or PhD programs, master's or PhD programs, you apply for those programs. The committees are very, very good at knowing who's going to make it. So I have graduate students come in and talk to me like, Richard, I don't think I'm for this program. I'm like, you're not interested in the program, or you don't think you can complete the program? Oh no, I'm interested in it. Well, you're going to complete the program, because the overwhelming majority of people do complete the program if they want to, because the committees are super good at selecting. So if you get in one of these programs, the chances, you may have your doubts at times. We all have our doubts. It's human nature. You're going to graduate from it if you just stick with it. You know, it's like some of the stuff, military stuff you and I have gone through. We didn't think we could make it through. Stick it out, you're going to make it through.
Yeah.
Don't quit.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't quit.
It's just an exercise, and don't quit, and don't feel bad for yourself.
Yep,
You know, stop feeling bad for yourself.
Don't self-unselect.
Yeah.
Don't self-unselect, and that's same here in college and in our programs. Don't fail yourself out. Don't quit. You know.
Yeah, because most of those, whether it's military training or academic training, they're set up generally for you to succeed.
It's set up for success.
Yeah, they want you to succeed, and if you're there, you belong there. They, like you said, they chose you. They saw something in your qualifications, or saw something in you in the interview process, and it's just about riding that wave of human emotions, and the ups and downs. You know, so it's like, you know, like I mentioned earlier with my samples, it's like, oh, I like. When I wasn't getting any protein on my little, you know, the nano drop that reads the concentration, I was like, oh man, like this is the worst. Like,
This is worse, right?
Yeah, so, you know, I go to the mentors. Actually, I was just like, yo, get me more kits. I'm sorry, but I need more kits, because I'm probably gonna have to do this work again. And they're like, no, those kits are expensive, so let's try to recover the stuff first. I was like, okay.
That's a good point. Find a mentor, people.
Yeah.
In your programs, find someone, either a student or a faculty, staff or faculty member, that you're mentored. That can guide you through the process, that can help you, you know, students that are a year ahead of you, or anything like that. Hey, what do I expect? Not to get the answers, no. We're talking about, you know, stay in the academic honesty lane, don't perjure yourself. But hey, if they can do it, I can do it. Hey, what do I need to do to be successful in this course, right? Not, you know, you got to stay honest, right?
Yeah.
But find that faculty or staff member that, hey, how do I get there? What's the secret for success? Well, there's no secret for success. It's just work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because there was a really great interview that the Daily Show did this past week, I want to say, where it might have been last week, but I want to say it was this week. I don't remember who the guest was, but you know, they were talking kind of in a, you know, similar situation as you and I right now. And it was about mentorship, and the guy said basically that a lot of people withdraw themselves from the mentor pool because they feel like they're not qualified, they feel like they're not, I'm going to use the word special, but that's, you know, just kind of a broad term, like they don't have the network or the experience or the qualifications or XYZ to be a mentor. And the guy says that a big part of mentorship is just being available and just listening, you know, honestly, and just being there for somebody, because you know, you're essentially just growing a relationship with a friend over time. And he talked about how in their mentorship program, you know, there might be a 30-year-old mentoring a 10-year-old, or how did he word it exactly? It was basically like, hey, in our program we have mentors where they, you know, they invite the mentee over to the wedding at some point, you know, for
Right.
a mentor, and they go, and it's a cool thing, and then 20 years later, the mentor is getting invited by the mentee to their wedding,
Right.
you know, and it's essentially just creating
Yeah.
bonds with people.
And that helps, because a mentor, you don't have to have all the super advanced knowledge. You have to be able to listen in a non-judgmental manner and just be there for the person a lot of times. Or you help guide them through a program like, hey, this is what I do. This is how I set up my study plan, or this is how I set up my research project, right? There's nothing wrong with discussing how to set up a research project. That's we all do that. There's nothing academically dishonest about these kind of things. Read these chapters. Nothing academically dishonest about that. Read this book. Nothing academically dishonest about that. That's just research. You know, I'm not giving you the answers, but here, read this book. You know.
Yeah, and I always see articles about just building a network of mentors if you can, right?
Right.
Like, of course, you want to be able to at least have one person you can kind of go to and talk about, but having a network of mentors is, reflecting on it, I've kind of done that in a way where, you know, I have my mentor from when I was an undergrad, and now, you know, I have like business mentors from when I went to business school, and now I'm getting mentors through this PhD program. So they don't always have to be like active every week, every month mentors, but just knowing that you have those people there in your corner for when you need them, when you need that reference, when you need that guidance, when you need just that, like, hey, how are you doing? How was your Christmas break? Or, you know, just to kind of, and that's another thing they always talked about in business school. You can grow these mentors, but it's always so important to ping them every now and then, right? You can't just have a mentor that you talk to, you know, once every year. You know,
that brings up a good point. I got to send my mentor for Expressive Arts an email today. I got to volunteer or something.
All right, Richard. Well, we're coming up to the end of the show here. We got a couple minutes left. So as always, you know, last few minutes, if there's anything you want to plug, share, words of advice and wisdom.
Yeah, again, Ricardo, thank you for having me on. I do it. I'll do it anytime you ask. And I'll provide information as the semester goes on, again, for any important events. Counseling at utrgv.edu, or just come by one of our centers. You can Google the location. We're at the youth center in Edinburgh, and we're in the top of the student union in Brownsville. The medical center, the medical schools, you'll have to find their address. If you're part of that community, you probably already know where they are. Look for us on Instagram. We update that very often. So you can find out the latest and greatest on the groups we're having. And again, please come in. You know, it's free and confidential. Don't leave that on the table. This is one of those things. Hey, you just want to talk for a minute? Yeah, we can do a single session. I can do that. We don't have to enter into a full-blown contract where we're going to see each other for 12 sessions. No, we don't have to do that. That may be appropriate, but we can also do a one and done. We can do a single session. Come up to and talk to us at the tabling events. We do tabling events all the time. Okay. Well, we have a social worker, Deanna, and she does all these tabling events for us. And
Nice.
Yeah, and so she's our case manager, social work. She's on. I don't know how she does. She must have cloned herself because she's everywhere. You know, she's indispensable, like you wouldn't believe. Veterans and family members. We have special programs for you. I'm actually the embedded in the Military and Veterans Success Center as their therapist as well. So you have direct access to me if you're as any student, but you have priority with me. I have set aside time for all student veterans or veterans that are students, and their family members that are using any of the chapter 35, Hazelwood, anything like that. If you don't know what that is, you're probably not one of them. You got to be in the club to know. You have direct access with me. You can contact me either through the counseling center or through the Military and Veterans Success Center, either one. But do identify yourself as a veteran or family member so you get straight to me.
Cool.
Again, hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. I
of
love
course.
doing this, man.
Yeah, me too. I always enjoy having you on and learning about you, the counseling center, all the workshops I provide. It's always so amazing to hear. And honestly, if I could go back in time to when I was an undergrad, I didn't do my undergrad here, but like you mentioned, all universities have these services.
Right.
Man, I definitely could have used it back then because, man, there's just so much stressors that students go through, whether it's financial aid troubles or classes are hard or you're falling behind on assignments, like there's a billion different things that are on students' plates, and having this resource is really amazing. So thanks again for coming on the show, Richard, and looking forward to seeing you again soon.
Later.
Yep. So thanks everyone. This is DJ Kalicha Kid here on RGV Community Health Hour, Vaquero Radio, the Valley Student Station. Just here to remind you that you need to stay curious, stay healthy, and let's thrive together, RGV.